Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Ooh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I wanna talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Corsicana, Texas. What's up, Dallas Fort Worth? What's up, Houston, Texas? We are the Burning Coals Podcast. I'm your host. I go by the name of Mr. Knowing Our Reactions. And on Saturday, we got a guy the big on the top, right in the middle. Bougie Weirdo. Get up for B-Dub, Bougie Weirdo. Right up on the Bougie Weirdo, we got our guy. You know him. The fella, no name, you gotta give it up for him. G-Man, Gentleman Jamal. Also on the side, Gentleman Jamal. We got the first plate of Burning Coals Podcast. She go by his name, Educated Queen. Give it up for Educated Queen. And then right up at the top, we got the one and only and the newcomer of the show, B Love. Give it up for B Love. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We are the Burning Coals Podcast. Here is where we have fire interviews. We have hot topics, burning questions, serious conversations, and we say what needs to be said. So this is a beautiful Tuesday, and we thank you guys for tuning in to the Burning Coals Podcast. We do have a comment section right there on the right-hand side. If you feel like you want to ask a question or, put your question down or whatnot, you put it in the comment section, and we'll definitely read your comment. And if you want to come on to the show, we do have 2 streaming platforms that you can feel free to come on to the show, ask your questions. We have the Burning Coals Podcast Facebook streaming platform, and we also have YouTube streaming platform. So if you want to come on to the show, give you a shout out. If you want to come on to the show, ask your questions, or if you want to talk about G-Man in a secluded area, you can go ahead and definitely go ahead and give him a shout out. I'm pretty sure he'll definitely enjoy that, and he'll definitely let you know where he at. Yeah, right. So anyway, before we get moving with the Burning Coals Podcast for this beautiful show that we have for you guys on Tuesday night, panel, how are you guys doing tonight on this beautiful Tuesday? It's another Tuesday, a little chilly, but how are you guys doing today on this beautiful Tuesday night? EQ?
It's cold where I'm at, extremely cold. I think we had some flurries out here earlier. It's freezing. I just came from outside. But anyway, I'm having a good Tuesday. Having a good day, even better night. Let's get it.
Right. B-Dub, what you got? You on mute, B-Dub.
Bad. So I'm just enjoying this extra daylight.
Man.
Out here.
Right. I was gonna mention that, B-Dub. I'm like, man, this falling back. With time, is it time went back, right? Or spring forward? Spring forward. Okay, yeah, spring forward. So we lost an hour, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of different, man. But yeah, man, I'm it's I don't know what to think about it, whatever, man. Like I said, it's just one of those things or whatever, man. Every time I kind of get confused with the spring and fall and spring forward, fall back. That little whole analogy, what they say. So I kind of throw it off with that, whatever. But
spring forward.
Yeah, spring forward. Fall back.
Like you just said it.
Yeah. But I had to think about it though when I just said it. Yeah, spring forward, fall back. Yeah, okay, cool. Makes a lot of sense. So, B-Love, what's going on, B-Love?
Nothing much. Everybody's doing great, so that's great for me.
Amen to that, B-Love. Amen to that. First Lady EQ, what's up?
Hey, I'm good. I'm above ground and not beneath ground. I'm big chilling over here in Dubai, so you know what it is.
You said Dubai?
Yeah, Dubai, Corsicana, Texas.
Boy, hey, it's just a country thing, man. You know how we do it.
Yeah.
She over there do by the store.
The bills are due by the 15th. The bills are due by the 15th.
Okay, you ain't lying. I'm good. I'm glad to be alive, and I'm glad I'm being on this show tonight. And let's do this, baby. Let's do it.
Already. So again, you guys, we appreciate you guys for joining the Burning Coals podcast. Like I said, we do this every Tuesday, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, hit that share, hit that notification bell. Do all that because we be talking about some fire stuff over here. And if y'all haven't subscribed yet, or y'all haven't told anybody about the Burning Coals podcast, shame on you. So let's talk about it.
Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Ooh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I wanna talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Y'all see what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about generational networking and connection. And the reason why we thought this was a great conversation and a great topic to talk about tonight is because, you know, in our, I don't know, well, I will say this, in our communities, we don't really have a whole lot of, networking. People don't really teach us and tell us how important networking is. If it's in our communities, outside our communities, when you are outside in the working industry, if you're an entrepreneur or whatever the case may be, we're not really. No one has really just sat down and gave us a blueprint on how it is to be able to network with different people, different cultures, different nationalities and things like that or whatever. So we figured that this episode that we're talking about now would be a great topic to discuss, and maybe we challenge and come up with some different ideas and different ways that we're able to connect with people that just don't look like you and I. And we also say that it is very important that we have these different connections as well, because sometimes we tend to think that, and I don't know about you guys, whatever, but since I'm from a little small town or whatever, sometimes you can just get caught up in your own little box. Sometimes you can get caught up in your whole world is inside of a box, and I didn't understand that box, that the whole world is way bigger than the box that we've decided to put ourselves into. And we all have that kind of, some of us have that type of mentality where your whole world is inside of a box, and it really isn't. But in order for you to move forward, in order for you to learn different information, learn certain ideas, and so on and so forth, or whatnot, so that way that you can be better productive out there in the world, and also be better, inside your, do better for the community and your environment. You got to be able to network. You got to know some things. You got to form some connections, so that way you can have some great ideas to go off of. So, panel, I ask you guys this, okay? Since we're talking about it, when we say networking, what comes to mind to you guys when we're talking about networking, and how important it is when we talk about networking?
I mean, your circle. Networking is about who you are connecting yourself to, and how that could be mutually beneficial, right? Because your family is your family,
right?
And that doesn't mean blood. Relatives, your relatives are your blood. Your family is who you choose to love and be around, but your network, that's your circle. That's who you choose to communicate with, to interact with, that y'all can all help each other achieve higher goals.
Right.
I agree. Just to bounce off to what B-Dub was saying, your network is your net worth. A lot of people get in positions based off of who they know, not because of their talent. Your network, those who you build these relationships with, they're not always familiar. Sometimes they are professional, social, whatever. But you can determine a man's worth, a woman's worth by his or her network.
EQ, what you got to say about that? EQ, you're thinking over there about it.
Oh, I was reading something. I didn't even hear the question. What's the question?
First of all, you can't even read.
You thinking on that gum? That's what she's doing.
Hey,
We
you
talking
know,
about how important. We talking about. I asked the question about how important is in our communities as far as like networking and yeah, how important is it for us to be able to network and how valuable it is? How valuable is it?
well, it's important for a number of reasons. It's important to network, to especially if you want to pursue a business opportunity or some type of skill or trade, or you want to just learn, just to have conversation and just pick people's brains or whatever, to see, to learn something new, to see how you can better your life, your family's life, or whatever. So it's always good to keep a good group of people who may not, always look like you. Because you never know what information you might need or what resources you might need to grow, to learn, to excel, or whatever whatever it may be. So I think it's very important.
Right, right, right. B Love, you got anything to add on that? B Love.
Yeah, I think EQ is exactly correct. Networking is very important, especially on a business aspect. You want to be able to make sure you have um, plugs, pretty much, basically, um, and just be able to deal with people from all different walks of life, because you may have someone in your circle that may have been uh, homeless one point in time, and you want to hear about that growth. It's not just about getting the business out there, but also you want people around you that's going to motivate you, and from that you have the drive to keep going. And then also it may be a sense of networking to where you have this client coming in, and but it's a language barrier there. Oh, I remember Saeed from, such and such. Maybe if I call him, he can translate for me because I really need this deal. So it's all about having somebody in your back pocket that you communicate with often to be able to help you grow, and also you returning a favor.
Right, 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 right. And you hit on something, B Love, as far as like with networking. Uh, and but because we living in different times right now. Like the new generation kids, y'all, and correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like with them and whatnot, it's like they don't even know how to have a face to face interaction or communicate with someone, yet alone trying to talk with somebody about business, so on and so forth, whatever. But a lot of these new generation kids and whatnot, I mean, everything is in the palm of their hand. They rather feel like they're networking, and I'm not. They rather feel like it's networking with just like devices, but they don't want to have an interaction one on one with that person face to face, and we can be sitting right next to each other. You rather sit there on a device all day long and say to me on a device what you need to say versus having a conversation with me. Do you guys believe that that's effective networking when you go about it that way? Could that be is that you believe that's effective? B Love, you was coming in.
Um, I would say that it it just kind of all depends. See, with this generation, we're having to grow with this generation as well. We're in it, we're here, so we have to understand that they have a new form of communicating, and it's totally different than what our generation grew up on, and then of course our parents, because sometimes it took 3 to 4 days for you to get a letter in the mail letting you know Johnny died. Now all you gotta do is look on Facebook, you know, and see that this is what took place. So a lot of things is I call it keyboard language, because they text now rather than sit down and talk to you. And a lot of kids, you used to have to go in for business deals and sit down and talk contracts. They don't have to do that now. All they have to do is have a YouTube channel and have so many subscribers and followers, and then next thing you know, you famous. So a lot of that is a lot of that stands in the way, and it's all of it kind of twines in together with helping this new generation be successful with their line of communication. Even though we don't like it, and we do feel like it's you know it's a divide there. Again, it's back to what I was saying earlier. It's gonna be a language barrier for us, even with our own children and grandchildren, because that's the way they communicate. They don't have no other. They don't. I ain't gonna say they don't know any other way. They do know this is just what's best for them because this is what they're used to.
Yeah. B Dub, you finna add something?
Now, what was I about to say? Yeah, with the social media thing, I think Beloved made an interesting point. Because this is how people communicate. So, in theory, it could be great because you can literally like she was saying before, you build your network, but there was a limited way to do that. It was mostly face to face. Like you had to actually meet people, or a friend of a friend, and oh, let me hook you up with my friend or whatever, and then you grow like that. Now you can build a network worldwide off of your phone. But unfortunately, we don't necessarily use it for that. That's the problem. I think that she was kind of alluding to, because these kids, that's how they communicate, and they're not even using it for the right thing. And at a certain point, you still have to be able to communicate face to face. You got to be able to have conversations with people to do real business, because there's a lot of business that can be done over the phone, over the internet, but like we talking about getting to the real money. Like you have to be able to do face-to-face business with people and know how to communicate with people. And but I just want to throw this out there too. I think people get confused a lot, or I don't know, I don't want to say confused or whatever, but I don't think people necessarily understand your network is there to be used, and you should be useful to your network. Like people say, I don't want people to use me. Well, if nobody can use you, then you're not useful. Like you want to be useful to your network, and your network should be useful to you. It's understanding. Like you don't want to take advantage of people, and hopefully nobody take advantage of you, but you do want people to use you, and you want to use your network to grow. Like I said, the common theme should be we all have a destination that we're trying to get to, and how can we help each other get there. Like the example that was given earlier, like if you in a situation, you have a business and you brokered a good deal for your business, but turns out that there's a language barrier, you got to have that person in your pocket. That's no different than having a say you get into you have a legal situation, and if you have somebody in your network that's an attorney, you can reach out and say, hey, I got this going on, I just want to run this by you. And then they can inform you, like, okay, yeah, that's cool, you can do this, or no, don't do that. Or they can either help you out or recommend you to somebody to help you out. Like you got to have a network. That's how you navigate life successfully and build success, in my opinion, because you can't do it alone. People talking about doing it alone. Nobody does it alone. Nobody does it by themselves. That's the biggest lie and the biggest myth that gets told, is that people just somehow just do it all by themselves. From the bottom, I got it out the mud by myself. No, you didn't.
I agree.
First of all, let me say something. I don't like the way EQ is chewing. That's just, she gonna have to stop gnawing on that gum like a.
First of all, I don't like how you all in my business and what I got going on over here. You better stop. You think you in a secured location, you gonna be underground. Keep messing with me. What half did that? I need him to sing Wings right quick. Keep messing with me. Leave me alone, G-Man.
Oh man, y'all wow. But there are pros and cons with that though, especially with the social media stuff, whatever. Because here's how I look at it. Like it's all good that you can send me something on an email, And you can use all these different type of words and things like that, or whatever fancy words, and put stuff together
You
like
still
that.
got you still got an AOL account just to know
All
what
of it, MySpace, all that. But yeah, you can use all this stuff, whatever, man. But here's the thing, though. I want to be able to meet you face to face, especially if we doing business, because okay, now I can get a better I can kind of gauge everything. Now my senses are activated. Okay, I can see you. If I want to touch you, I could. Your senses get to being activated when you actually see somebody face to face, and I can pretty much gauge and have a judgment or have an idea if I want to continue further doing business with this individual versus sounding all PC and proper and using all these big languages on a social media, on an email or something like that. Because if you've seen a lot of these people that's on networking on social media, I allow some like these love gurus, or they networking all these people. A whole lot of these people are a bunch of frauds out there, But how can you tell that? How can you tell that somebody's a fraud or somebody else is not really what they talking about with all this fancy gibberish and this fancy words that they don't put out there on this, on this email to you, whatever. They could have had somebody to put that document together for them. You never know. So people get catfished like that all the time. And like I said, that's the reason why I say that's pros and cons to it.
Well, we talked about this, I think, during the relationship series, but it's a lost art of talking to people in person now because of the advancement of social media technology, right? It is a gift and a curse, right? You can actually look at 500,000 people a night swiping left, swiping right, putting your face out in front of all these people, and you never have to say something, right? We literally used to have to walk up and say something to the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Knock on the door, right? Now all that's gone, right? Business is, business is also a lot of business done e-commerce or digitally, right? Most business deals now, there ain't much face to face. I mean, you maybe can get a Zoom, right? But a lot of it is scan this, send this, sign this, what you call Adobe this, sign this. It's a lot of it is not that way. Now, old school, it is. I gotta see, I gotta touch. Well, COVID shut a lot of that down and changed a lot of the way we did things. It wasn't no face to face. It wasn't you can't be in the same room. So it's just evolution, right? But also your network now is larger and it can grow a lot quicker because of social media.
Yeah,
right?
but sometimes go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, so it's good and bad, but everything in evolution is good. There's always some good and there's always going to be some bad in it. It's just the way it is.
Right. But yeah, you said you hit something right when you said that it can definitely grow faster and larger. But sometimes when you do things like that in a hurry or a quick fix or whatever, it don't really last that long. You know what I mean? It just don't last that long at all. It's nice that you got the numbers from the get go, but can you maintain however it is that you got your numbers up there fast like that? Can you maintain that? But I always say slow and steady wins the race. Yeah, go ahead.
The only thing you gotta understand is nobody's gonna fax you anymore. Get rid of that fax machine. A dot matrix fax machine at that.
Right.
Fax machine, yeah.
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 Catch up with the times, huh, B-Dub?
Yeah. I mean, I prefer face-to-face conversations too, because I'm a person who I'm a body reader.
Right.
I like to read energy, body language, and stuff like that. And plus, a lot of stuff can get misconstrued through text because the text is however I interpret it. So you can text me, hey, good morning, brother. But I read it as good morning, brother. Like, okay, what he on today? Like, why you know what I'm saying? So I like to keep things plain and simple, but I do understand like times are changing. You have to keep up with the times. So, you have to find that balance between old school, or I just say what you prefer versus what's happening right now. You got to try to find that middle ground. Because I'm not big on text messages, but at the same time, I don't like to be bothered either. So I don't like when people call me. So,
Dang, so we gotta flip a coin to get to you then, huh?
yeah, so so sometimes text is best because at least I can read it and I can respond to you at my leisure. So I have to compromise there. So
Right.
but I think once we learn how to use it effectively and get away from the entertainment part so much, you could really grow. Like a lot of people have really changed their lives financially through social media
I agree with that.
and by networking and reaching out to people. So, once you figure that part out and get past the entertainment part of it, stop getting stuck on the For You page, you could really do something.
What's a For You page? I never heard of that. I ain't never heard of that, for real. That's my first time hearing that. I ain't never heard no For You. Yeah.
Don't
That's
feel
what you
bad,
look
know it
at
all.
when you
I
go
don't
in
know what
that
no.
app.
I
They,
don't know what
they
it
always
is.
trying to be funny. G-Man,
Yeah,
get back on this screen.
I ain't never heard of that. That's my first time ever hearing that. I kid you not.
That's
Seriously.
what you see when you go into your app, and that's what they showing you, stuff that's for you.
Is that right? Man, boy, they got some
But was you looking there? Golly.
Oh, I'm about to blow your mind now. There's another thing called an explore page where you can go and find people to network with.
Man, I'm telling you, I guess I just don't know about all that stuff, whatever,
He
Jesus.
still got a Black Planet. He's still
Yeah. I'm like, man, I'm still stuck in the I'm still stuck in the,
Magente.com.
right. I'm still stuck in the Jet magazine era. You know what I mean? I'm still there.
He's still getting print delivered to the house.
Yeah, he's my For You and all that. I'm like, what the world y'all talking about, man? Man, they got some really colorful. They got some colorful stuff on there, man. You think you see your son, pull up his web browser For You or Explore or whatever. You think he's trying to learn something? Well, he learning something, all right. But just think what you think he learning. Okay, all right. I'm glad to know that. Appreciate that. Well, hey, you guys. Hey, you make sure you guys continue to subscribe to the Burning Coals podcast. We go right here live on YouTube every Tuesday, 8:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is what we do. We have fire content, and we have some great conversations on the show. And we just thank you guys for your love, support, and your adulation. Miss Loretta Rocha, she says, "Hola, hola, Miss Loretta Rocha." Matter of fact, she says, "Hola." Appreciate that.
Miss Loretta.
Yeah, where you calling from? Where you coming in from, Miss Rocha? Put your comment in the description, or if you want to come on to the show and tell us how you feel. You can give us talk to us about any and everything you want to talk to us about. All right. So we do have the streaming platforms available. So you want to come on, definitely come on. So let me ask you guys this, okay? So earlier I mentioned about the networking because when I had a discussion about having it, like in our own little box, all right? Because a lot of times, like I said earlier, when I opened up the show, we don't know how really how big the world is, and we've only been taught, like your neighbor, your community, your neighborhood, your school, maybe your high school. You might kind of venture out just a little bit, whatever, but it's still all this is still inside your little box. And why is it in our communities that we don't have an understanding or have a working knowledge of? You got to look outside the box. The whole world is just not inside of no small little box in, Corsicana, Texas or Dallas, Texas. That there's bigger and better, I don't say better, but there's bigger opportunities that's out there. And we just got to be able to buckle up and try to seize the opportunity. Why is it that in our communities, it seems like our whole world is inside that box?
There's a few different reasons. Number one, you have to see it. Number two, we've been brainwashed. So those of us who do happen to get out and see it, we scared to bring the information back because we think if we bring the information back, then it's only room for one. They led us to believe that there's only room for one. So if you bring the information back, somebody else might take your spot. And other than that, and also too, this, there's a saying, family is all we got. And I was actually having a discussion about this on Instagram not that long ago. Somebody made that comment. And that family is all we got holds a lot of people back because we don't want to deal with people outside of our family or necessarily outside of our community or whoever we deem to be our family, because we think we have to do it together. We got to figure it out. No, somebody else can figure it out for you, and you can actually learn and get the information from them. It's okay to do that, but we feel like we have to do everything on our own, so we don't even know. So like my younger sister, her mom was able to take her on trips. And it's crazy. I remember we was having a conversation and she said it so nonchalantly, and it was so crazy to me because she was talking about, when they had went to London, and she was like, well, that was the second time we went, and that was before we had went over here, and And I'm just like, I done been out of Texas I done been around Texas. I done been almost everywhere in Texas, but I've only been outside of Texas, a handful of times. I can count on probably one hand how many times I've been outside of Texas. And she talking about going overseas, like driving up the road, because she done been so many times since she was a kid.
Yeah.
And so, and it's cool to talk to people who have those type of experiences because you learn stuff, you get information. We see stuff on TV, but it's different getting that information from somebody who actually experienced it.
Right.
I can look at TV and say, oh, well, people in Jamaica are like this. But once I actually went to Jamaica, I learned something completely different.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, so you have to see it, or you have to, somebody has to show it to you, has to explain it to you, has to give you that information. And we don't pass information like that, unfortunately.
Right. Man, I got a my experience of networking is totally different. Because I spent all my life in Texas, living in Texas, spent all my life here. But I had got a big cultural shock moving to the East Coast. Never been to Boston, Massachusetts in my life. Never. All right. Matter of fact, in my household, when I grew up, they said if you move way out there to the East Coast like that, New York and Boston or whatever, they said, man, you ain't coming back. It basically that's a point of no return. You lost out that way. So when I went to Boston and lived there for a year and some change, and all the connections that I made there, everything that I thought Boston was, as far as like heard a lot of negative things about being in Boston, and actually being there in Boston, living there for a whole year and some change I did, blew my mind, man. You know what I mean? I learned a different things about how things operate there, and the cultural difference, meeting certain people. They never lay eyes on you in their life. You know what I mean? Never lay eyes on you at all. People at that I worked with at that time, different nationalities. Everything that I did when I was there, I still have those connections that I made, and able to contact those connections that I've made when I was there in Boston, Massachusetts, or whatever. So, but I had to, I had to get out of that little box that I was living in, just living in Texas. But just like you, B-Dub, I've been out of Texas before, but I never actually lived in another state, especially miles and miles away from home. And when I did that, I look at things totally different. And to be honest with you, if another opportunity came, I wouldn't mind living back out of Texas or whatever, because of what I've done when I was in Boston. You see what I'm saying? So change is not bad at all. And you have to be able to broaden your networking palette, I should say, your networking palette, with just doing things that's outside of the norm that you do, in this little small box that you have. EQ, go ahead, like you got something on your mind now.
Oh, I was just gonna say, that's why it's just like you said, it goes back to what we're talking about, having that network. And then if you don't have a network, then create one. That's why it's good to ask questions. Um, even me, like, we was younger. I hung around a lot of white kids. At one time I was like the only black cheerleader. I wanted to know what they knew. I wanted because they lived in a different world than what we did, and so I've always been that kid that wanted to be in the know of, just whatever we weren't being taught at home. I wanted to know, well, why y'all got money and why y'all parents drive this and live there. So I was always that kid asking questions. And then of course I was able to travel too a lot, when I was younger. So, being able to travel and all that good stuff, you learn a lot. You meet people in different. I've gotten to travel a lot in my adult life. So, and then of course, being in education, I've met a lot of people from all over the world. So it's just good to, ask questions, have conversations, you know, and sometimes you have to educate yourself, do your own research, do your own homework. And you'd be surprised what you learn, what you've missed out on because you didn't know. Because like you saying, people that live in certain areas, they don't have information that's readily available. But and I think for most of us who live here in Corsicana, we have the information, we have the network, but some of us just choose to live here because for the sake of peace and whatever else, you know.
Right.
But believe you me, there are some of those who are, who are doing our thing out here. Um, just because we don't put it on social media or we don't talk about it, don't mean it happen. Because I'm all for privacy and doing my thing offline. But it's again, just asking those questions, talking, doing your own research, attending seminars. The information is there, for whatever you seek out to do, whatever it is, no matter how big or small, the information is there, the resources are there. We just got to go figure out how to go about getting them, find out who to contact and all that stuff. You see G-Man trying to blur his screen like he way out in Saudi Arabia, when in fact he really in Pleasant Grove over there at the Roach Motel, but he had to reach out to little Mindy over there at the desk to get that room 2 hours for $20. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have those kind of connections to get what you want in life.
And you got to open your mouth, EQ, and that right. Open your mouth, because closed mouth don't get fed when you trying when you want to know something.
I'm glad you said that.
You gotta
not to open her mouth no more.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that point out, because I teach my students that one thing I don't like about social media or technology, it is a resource. It's a helpful resource, and it's great. It's a great tool, but it takes away our kids' ability for public speaking and to have those face-to-face conversations.
Right.
They're still needed.
Right.
What if you get a scholarship to college to play football or to be, the next spokesperson for, the University of Texas? You still need to have those face-to-face interactions and communication skills. This is why I teach my daughter, hey, you learn how to talk to people, open up your mouth. It's okay to speak correct grammar and you ain't got to go put your whitest voice on, but hey, learn how to have conversations, learn to look people in the eye, because when you have conversations, those things take you. Don't text me if you want to borrow some money from me. Call me. Come over my house or something. I mean, that worked for everybody else, to each his own, but for me, have a conversation with me. Talk to me.
Listen,
and I teach my daughter the same thing. Yes.
EQ, listen, let me tell you guys a story what happened to me about a month ago. Okay, so I'm performing interviews for a position that I'm hiring for, right? Okay. Young lady. Very nice young lady. But the body language, she's sitting in the chair like this, sideways, legs crossed, hands on her face like this, okay? And I'm trying to have a discussion with this woman, all right? And then when we finished the interview lasted about 35 minutes. And I didn't want to go not a minute longer because of the way the whole body language was and how she was answering the question when I asked her. So then when the interview was over with, I kid you not, this woman sends me a text message. The guy who's interviewing you for the position, to hire you for a position, she sends a text message to me saying, "Mr. Sims, I'm so sorry that I was acting the way that I did, and I was so nervous because you are so handsome." This is what she
Cap.
Obviously,
I believe it.
obviously she's
kid
deranged,
Not. I kid you not.
and she had to been blind, half blind.
No. When she sent me this,
She just wanted the job. Ain't no way.
whatever, but you don't
That's-
send
A
the
potential
person that would
employer.
interview.
Right.
Thank you. How can I give you a job when you just sent to me?
disqualified yourself, yeah.
Right. But this young lady didn't even have the understanding. She thought what she was doing was the correct behavior. How can I hire you on a job when you sent me something like that? I can't hire
Like
you on a
5
job.
miles of bad road. There ain't no way she sent you no.
Okay, Steve, here we get on my nerves.
But how can I can't, but like my thing is this, okay? Like how see we have to learn how to be able to, like you said, EQ, we got to teach our kids, just the small things about how to conduct yourself when you're networking, how to be able to open your mouth and talk, how not to get yourself disqualified from from a job or something like that or whatever that you have interest in. Because had somebody would have taught this young lady those little simple instructions, she probably would have been hired right now. But because because the way she, thought that what she was doing was the right way, she eliminated her own self out of a position. You see what I'm saying? So we got to start inside the house, man. Because right now, man, with social media, we're in a lot of bad shape because we don't know how to be able to be articulate, or we don't know how to even just have a sip of decorum with just knowing how to handle yourself in an interview. We got to come up with something different. B-Dub, what you think about that, my guy?
Well, definitely. Well, there needs to be more training. So, when I was at a previous employer and I was in a position to hire people, I would tell them because we used to get people like that all the time. We get young guys that come in that they think putting on some Dockers or some khakis or whatever with the button down shirt tucked out with tennis shoes on is interview attire. It's not.
Right.
And I would tell them, because I feel like I've said we've always said it plenty of times before. It's our duty to pass information. We have to help those that don't know. So I would let them know, like, this is not how you come into an interview, like whatever. And I got a couple of young guys that I've connected with, so I've become a part of their network now. And I've had them reach out to me, after the fact and be like, man, what you told me was cool. I listened to it, whatever, this and this, and now I'm over here doing this and doing that. And it's like it make me feel good knowing that they learning and they doing better. But I was gonna say this though, also too, at work, we have to use these companies use us. We have to use them. Use your time at work wisely. Like connect with the right people. Right. Stop hanging out with the person that want to leave early to break all the time, come back late all the time, that don't want to do right, because eventually they're gonna get fired and you're gonna get fired right along with them. Right. But pay attention to the people who are there. We call company person, or you want to do your job. Yes, you need to be friends with those people because those people are going somewhere. This is how I think G-Man said it earlier, how people get other jobs, because you get connected with that person. First of all, it can help you internally, because if I'm a manager, this is how promotions work. People have to understand, companies are not going to promote you unless they can replace you, because it doesn't make sense, especially if you're good. If you're good at your job and I take you out of your job and promote you, okay, cool, but now I'm going to suffer over here. So you have to connect and network with people. So now I'm sticking to you. I'm your whatever you need, I got you. Because you have to do the job before you get the job. So now that person get promoted, guess what? Oh, I got B-Dub right here. You in good hands. He know everything. He been doing most of the work for the last 3 or 4 months anyway. It ain't even me, it's him. So cool. Now it's an easy transition. Right. They get promoted, you get promoted. Or they lead a company. I brought people over to where I'm at now that I worked with previously. So people go to another company, and they if you network correctly and you are a good employee, people are gonna remember that. Right. Like, because instantly we was in a situation where we had to get rid of some guys. We needed people like I instantly like I already was like, hey, I know you wasn't too happy over there. I can bring you over here. All right, bet, let's go. Now they over here making more money in a better position. Like
Right.
you have to take advantage of your employment. Don't just go to work just to get a check. Go there and make something out of it. You
Right.
the stepping stone to get wherever you're trying to go.
And be done when you go to the sometimes, well, a lot of time when you go to the workplace, if you just kind of sit back and just see how things move, I promise you, you can pick it up. You can pick something up from going to work that you can use to better not even your personal life, but your professional life as well. You can sit back and put some stuff together. You know what I mean? You can definitely do that. You'll see how if you just sit back, you'll see how HR person work. You'll see how this supervisor work, this manager work. You just sit back and just pick it up. That's all you have to do. Just sit back, because every when it comes to a business, pretty much every business is pretty much all set up the same way. You just gotta sit back, kind of relax, stay away from the negative stuff. Stay away from, like you said, B-Dub, stay away from the people that just want to come to work and get a check, complaining all day long. I always got a bad attitude with them. Stay away from them people, because them people don't want to learn nothing. They're going through the motion. You know what I'm saying?
That's what they do. That's what they do. They gonna complain until they eventually get themselves fired, and then they gonna go to the next company and they gonna do the same thing. And that's gonna be their repetitive cycle every year, every 12 to 18 months. They trying to go find a new job because that's what they do. Like, you got to look for people that's trying to go somewhere, that's trying to do something. You don't want to attach yourself. You don't want to attach your carriage to a dead horse. You want to attach it to the horse that's live and well and going forward.
Right.
You know, so people have to understand, like, a job is not just a job. A job is a great place for you to network. A job is like college where you get paid. Right. That's what college is for. I mean, outside of being a doctor or lawyer, something where you specifically need a degree, college ain't nothing but a big networking hub for you to meet people and that can help you further along in your life. How many people we see where the manager, this person went to school with this person was the roommate of that person, and this and that, and like that's how it goes. Like, your network equals your net worth. So if you broke and you stuck, take a look at the people you hang around the most. Take a look at the people you communicate with the most. I guarantee you they're in the same position.
Right. B-Love, you finna say something, B-Love?
Yeah, just piggybacking on what Charles said. College is a big network pool, and that's why you have fraternities and sororities, because you got a sister or a brother, they look on their resume and they say, oh, Kappa? Oh, all right. They ain't worried about nothing else. They ain't worried about if you've been to the pen or not. Okay, we here. This is where we are. So, yeah, that type of networking is extremely important. But I wanted to go back to the question that you were asking about why the Black community has a problem with networking. And I feel like that, for one, a lot of people say they want it, but they really don't know what they want. For number one, all they know is they want to be rich. Okay, well, when you get rich, what you gonna do? Number two, a lot of people are afraid to network outside of the community, the Black community, is because we're so used to people taking our ideas and running off with it. Because I may have this great invention, but I'm so afraid to call Susie, even though I know Susie got all the capital to help me in this world or can lead me in the right direction. What if my idea is just a grand idea? I don't have that money. I don't have that capital. So do I sit on this and let it rot, or do I call and ask for help? And so it kind of puts you at limbo, because I'm kind of afraid to say something because I don't want anybody to steal my idea. And so it just, because I've done this a couple of times. I've thought something in my head and I'm like, oh my God, I got to do that. And I sit on it and sit on it and sit on it. And next thing I know, I look up, somebody's doing what I thought about doing. I'm like, look at you, you dumbass. You sat on that and did nothing with it. And now here it is, all of a sudden it's big and it's up and it's good. So it's just a lot of fear that goes in with our community. And sometimes you have fearless people, and those people end up being the most successful because they don't fear anything. And
Right.
that's why I always say, have you more than one great idea? Because along the way, somebody possibly could steal that one, but you got a pocket full of them. So come on with it.
Right.
I'm here next. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's how the wealthy people think. Hey, I might lose a whole lot of money with all the different ideas. The only thing I need is one to work. I get one to work. I'm in the game. I'm in the ball game. But you don't know he done lost a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of sleepless, restless nights to come up with one idea to actually work. So, and that's the only thing you need, just one to strike on, man. Once you hit it, man, you in the ball game. You there.
And the thing about it too, like you said, you got to have more than one idea. You got to have more confidence in yourself. But I would say this. So, just using the example, you go do the deal with Susie. Susie might get you,
Most
but
definitely. Most
but through that deal, you gonna make connections through Susie. So next time you can bypass Susie. Because you can't just be
most
blind with
definitely,
it. You can't just be
most
like, and I'm
definitely,
not talking about you personally. I'm just saying, like,
yeah, most
anybody,
definitely.
don't just be blind with it and say, here's my idea. Okay, can you help me? Like, can you work with me through this process? Because people that know, especially in business, they'll take advantage of it. They definitely will.
Yeah.
But you can still learn something and get something out of it. So maybe you might end up it blow, but now somehow you only own 15% of the company instead of 100% because you done signed some paperwork or didn't know and this and that. So now you only getting 15%, but you
Mhm.
learn those things. So now, like you said, with the next idea, you could bypass that person because you know a little bit now. So you could do it a little bit better. And then with the
Yep.
next, you know what I'm saying? So I still think it's worth it to take chances. You gotta take the risk,
Mhm.
right, right.
Most
Sometimes,
definitely, I
sometimes,
agree.
sometimes the information is the reward, not the money.
Mhm.
I agree with that too, Big
Exactly.
Dub.
I do.
Okay.
I do. That's why it's always good to just stay the course. Like stay no matter what, no matter how bad it pisses you off, just stay there. And I call those type of situations sit back and watch the show. Cause
Right,
something about to happen. We don't know, but something about to happen. So just sit back and watch the show and see how everything turn, in your favor. But that's our problem. We get mad and we get so aggravated, and the first thing we say is, "I knew this was gonna happen," and we just quit and we give up, and we afraid to even start over because this is gonna happen. That's the anxiety kicks in when that's not always necessarily the case. And I always keep in mind too, what God got for you is for you, and ain't nobody gonna be able to stand in the way of what's yours.
right,
So
right. And keep negative people out your business. Them negative Nancy's, them negative naysayers. Keep them out of your business. They ain't doing nothing but being in your way, trying to slow down the progress, trying to find every excuse in the world to try to get you sidetracked from doing what you is set out to do. You can't tell everybody your dreams and your hopes because everybody ain't got it. Everybody don't really have the same energy for you, whatever, especially in a positive light. They really want to see you fall and fail, and so that way they can sit there and say, "Hi, I told you so." So you got to watch the company that you keep. I don't care if it's your friends, if it's your family, whoever it is, whatever, man. You got to watch the company you keep when you out there networking. You got to, you know. But like I said, they definitely want to be there, to be there and talk about you. As soon as you hit rock bottom, oh man, they are there all day long, whatever. But here's the thing about it though, and here's what I always say: even if you was to hit rock bottom, you still, to me, in your eyes, to me, in my eyes, you still a winner anyway because you didn't fail. You went out and did what you wanted to do. You went out there, made it happen, network or did whatnot. You built something. But even if you fail, you didn't fail to me without because you still learned something from something that you created. You learned something out of that. A lot of and a lot of people don't get that type of training or learning. When you just sit back on the sideline and just kind of not got you twiddling your thumbs and you're not doing anything. They don't get that same type of training and learning experience that you got when you set out and did what you done. So you're gonna definitely get a lot of that. G-Man, what you got, my guy?
He got off the camera when she started talking about God. You see how the devil got to flee? He go, come on back. We welcome you back, demon.
So you've been
always
quiet.
messing with me. You know I had to get him back.
G-Man,
I just love EQ. EQ is I just love talking to her every Tuesday. She just slices up my day.
Yeah.
No, so to circle back, of course EQ's gonna hate, but everyone knows I have a 90-day travel policy. I never go 90 days without going somewhere. So my perspective of the world is as a traveler, like I'm always gone. I'm never in one place more than 90 days. Out of the country, whatever. And EQ, I'm not in Texas now. But
Oklahoma at the casino. Quit playing.
I could be there too. But no, and a lot of deals, talking about business deals and all this, all of us conduct businesses to some degree, at some sort, at some level. And a lot of it can be done without face-to-face, but it's not done without networking, right? There's some level of networking involved in just about anything we do. And you treat the janitor like you treat the CEO, because you never know who you're going to cross that may be that person to give you that information, right? Back in the day, the shoe shine guys used to be the ones who had the tips. I mean, they had the stock tips, because as they were listening to the white people talk stocks and trading while they were shining their shoes.
Yep.
With the porters of the train, right? People that they were, if you was after one, you probably looked over, they had all the game. Because information, as B-Dub said, I want you to say that again. It was something about information is more important. B-Dub, I forgot you said, what was it?
Sometimes the information is the reward, not the money.
The information is reward, right? Because if you have information, you do it one time, you can replicate it after that, right?
Yep.
You get somebody, hey, just get me through it this one time. I can replicate it after that if I do it myself, right? If you give me fish, I eat for a day. You teach me how to fish, I eat forever. So networking is very important. And to be Love is saying, hey, we can count so many times where ideas were stolen from Black people and other people capitalize on it to this day. I will say this. We talk about, we don't like to partner, right? It's mine. You can have 100% of nothing. You can have, it's your idea. You can have 100% of it and it'll never take off.
Right.
Or you can have 50% of $100 million company. Which would you have? I got a great idea. I can't get it off the ground. But instead of partnering with somebody else, and I'm preferably somebody who looks like you and has the same values and ideas in you, but either way, if not, I got 50% of it or 70% of it or whatever, or I can have 100% of nothing. We have to get out this idea of, and I got this idea, but I'm so protective of it, I don't want to let nobody else in on it, even though I can't get it off the ground. And you still think, one day I can. Maybe you can, or maybe you need to reach out for help.
Yeah.
And you should be able to trust your network to a degree that because if you can't trust them, they shouldn't be in your inner circle anyway.
Right.
So you, like B-Dub said, use your network and build. I love when people call and ask me for something because that means a lot to me that you thought enough of me. Like, I need to ask him because he has some knowledge in this. Because I don't know everything, but I know something about I know a little bit about a lot of something. Maybe you know something I don't know. That's how it works. We haven't grasped the concept of working together. We've lost that. We used to be a tribal community. We've lost that. We've become so individualized and like you said, it only can be one.
Right.
And then we all fail. Once we realize we're better together, we'll go a lot further.
Right. Yeah, because I don't need nobody to look like me trying to. I don't need nobody to look like me trying to Madam CJ Walker me. You ain't gonna do me like that, trying to steal my ideas. No, sir, Bob, it ain't gonna happen. So, before you get that in your thick skull that you're gonna do me that way, now I got another thing coming. So it's just not gonna work out. Not at all. But I'm like you, G man. I'm like you, man. We have to be able to network with like-minded individuals, and I agree with you 1,000% with what you said. I'd rather have 50% of something than 100% of nothing, because that is important as well. We kind of, we kind of, we'll sit on, like B Love said, we'll just sit on an idea, a great idea, but we're afraid to open our mouth up. We don't want nobody to steal our idea. We don't want nobody to make no money off of us. But that's what's gonna happen. That's just how it's gonna happen. Especially we already behind the 8 ball because we already don't have a lot of the resources as is anyway. You know what I mean? We don't have the money, and I'd be damned if somebody gonna give you a bank loan, try to go get a bank loan and try to get your idea started up. It just ain't gonna happen. So
you know what else too? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
We have to get out of this. Like, if you whatever there's always new information. So one thing that I do, like, somebody might start telling me something that I already know, but I listen anyway, because they might say 99% of what I already know, but then it be that 1% of something different that they say that I didn't know, that I can now add to that can help me grow forward. So, I always listen, and I ask people questions. Sometimes I ask people questions about stuff I know anyway, just for that purpose. I just want to see if I might get something different out of it. So we got to get out of that mindset too, because a lot of times people, you start telling them something, they be like, "Oh, I already know, no, I did that already." Nah, but well, let me finish. I might say something that you don't know,
right?
So you might want to listen, especially if you ask.
Right.
If you ask, listen. Even if I am telling you something you already know, if you ask the question, listen to my answer.
Right.
So.
Right.
We definitely have to do more of that, be more open-minded. Like we mentioned earlier in the show, be more open-minded. Of course, best case scenario, it will be for us to be able to grow together. But sometimes you might have to go outside the community to grow, and then you be the one to come back and help somebody else grow. So we just got to be open-minded, man, and we got to stay focused on what the goal is and not get so caught up in fears. Like Beloved was saying earlier, great point. Not get so caught up in fear or worry or things like that. We just got to be open-minded, and you at some point you got to trust somebody, and you have to understand if somebody do you wrong, that's not a stain on you. That's a stain on them.
Right.
That's their problem. It's not your problem. You just have to learn from it and take that information. So hopefully you can prevent the next person from doing the same thing.
And you know what, PW?
And that's why they have great attorneys. If they do something wicked,
right? And you know what?
We'll get them back.
And you know what, y'all? Another thing we gotta quit doing is we gotta quit trying to be little and step and look down on people as well. You never know. Yeah, man, you never know somebody that's, and I've seen it happen, man. You might have a Walmart greeter, somebody that's working cashier or something like that. Whatever, you treat that person horrible, but you don't know what that person might know. That person, because I've seen it where a Walmart greeter has been destroyed and belittled and so on and so forth. Well, they don't know that's one of the most brilliant individuals inside this whole place. But you want to talk down on them, or you think less of them because of the type of position that they hold or the amount of money they make. You can't judge nobody. You can't judge nobody, off of what title they have and what position they have or how much money they make. We got that real bad as people. Trying to, on everyday life basis, whatever, man. We got that real bad, man. I've seen it happen. And then the person who's making all the money, who has a higher, or who has the title, you think that person knows everything and don't know nothing. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I don't understand that.
It can go back to what G-Man said, just like the shoe shiners.
Right.
That could be, you could be trying to talk to the CEOs, man, I've been trying to get in here for weeks, and they not talking to me, they not saying nothing. You sitting outside waiting the night janitor is leaving and they trying to talk to you and you won't even give them the time of the day, but yet and still you trying to get in here to a CEO that won't even give you the time of day. But the night person, they been cleaning up. They in the office. They listening. So they might know that one piece of information that you lacking, that to where you can bypass the CEO and be your own CEO. But you too busy looking down on them. You can't even learn and grow. God puts people in your path every day for a reason.
Right.
Another thing. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, B Love.
Oh no, I was done.
Go ahead, EQ.
Another thing with networking we got to also do to know and do is take risk. Take a risk. I mean, sometimes you may be successful, sometimes you may fail. If at first you don't succeed, try again. But get out there. That's those white people, they take risks. They take risks that we're not willing to take. So we got to learn how to do that too. I mean,
but I'm gonna piggyback on that a little bit because the white people and some people, a lot of people, they have that leverage to where they can take plenty of risk in the world. But I ain't finna go out and risk my $10,000 and knowing this shit ain't gonna work. I gotta have all my. After that,
I ain't telling you to be stupid.
Because after that 10,000 is gone and this shit ain't work, I'm finna fight somebody. Because I know ain't nobody. I can't go in no bank and get no type of money from nobody because I don't have any capital anymore. I don't have nothing to give. So that's why it is important to network so you can know the steps that you like. Why invent the wheel twice? That's our problem. We too busy trying to invent the wheel twice. Go ask this person why they washing their dishes with Dawn instead of Ajax. Quit acting crazy. If you see that their dishes are cleaner, why are you still going? So you don't win about 2 bottles of Ajax instead of 1 bottle of Dawn, and your dishes still ain't clean. I know this
why?
one particular group.
Why is that, B Dub?
Because this is what we're told. That's a great point. Because we have been told that we have to work twice as hard to get half as much. And that used to be true. That used to be true for a long time. But now, as we've been talking about this conversation with digital networking, now we have an extra tool that we can communicate with more people, that we don't have to do that. Somebody said earlier, was talking about the CEO. You think they the smartest person because they the CEO. They not. But they are smart because they know that they're not the smartest person. So they surround themselves with the smartest people. So you're 100% correct. Like we think, oh, this person's the boss, they're the CEO, they must know everything, when they really don't know nothing. But they're comfortable not knowing nothing because they have the idea. I got the idea and they might have the resources, but I don't know how to market. So let me go find somebody that knows how to market. I don't know how to manufacture. So let me go find somebody that knows how to manufacture. Like you could have the idea, but you don't necessarily have to, like I was saying earlier, we don't have to do everything by ourselves. We have to share the wealth. Like G-Man was saying, you might have to go find 2 or 3 people and be like, hey, listen, I'm gonna give you 10%, I'm gonna give you 10%, I'm gonna give you 10% because they can do those things that you can't do. It's still your idea, it's still your company, but sometimes you have to go out and find people to make it actually happen, which is just networking essentially. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we have to rewire ourselves from. We have to do a lot of unlearning and relearning, and just realizing that times are different now. I think sometimes we get stuck in thinking that we talk about what was done to us and how we got in this situation, but I think sometimes we forget and think that we're still living in those times. Yes, that was the cause. That's why we're here. But we have different opportunities now to get out of it moving forward. But it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight, but we all got to get on the same page.
Right. That being said, B Dub, you are valuable. You have to learn. You got to understand and have an understanding of how valuable you are, because you are a GM inside when you work inside of a location, whatever. And the reason why I say that is because I had put myself in a situation to where I put my resume together, okay, and I was applying for some of the jobs that I was really overqualified for, but it took for somebody to look at my resume and say, "Whoa, wait a minute, dude! With all the experience that you have, all the things that you've done over your lifetime, you won't you try for instead of this, try for that because you qualify for that versus this." And it took somebody for them to tell me how valuable I am because I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't realize all the things I've done when I put this resume together. I'm looking back at it like you're right, But some circumstances happened to where I said, you know what, man? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and apply for that. Which at the beginning I thought that I wasn't valuable enough to get that. Next thing you know, I end up getting that versus this. Overqualified for this, but end up getting that. Doesn't make any sense. So we have to make sure that we value ourselves and have an understanding how valuable that we really are, because you are. You have a lot of value, man. And sometimes it takes somebody to tell you how valuable you are, what type of especially with all the experience that you've been through in your life.
But that's messed up though, because that girl told you how valuable you was, and you still didn't hire her.
I knew it was gonna come. I knew it.
Now,
You needed that money, and you didn't get it.
I'm in a bind, Nate.
I'm in the
hey, but on the cool though, like that's on to kind of go off of that. That's where networking also can benefit you too, from just knowledge of language. Because a lot of times people qualify for positions and they don't apply for it because they don't understand the language. Like you see a job position and say, "Oh, we need a director of this and that and da 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 da." You be like, "Oh wow, director! Like I can't do that job." All they asking for is somebody to work on the assembly line and tell people where to put the product.
That's it.
But because companies do that, they put all this stuff out there and all this fluff with these positions. Looking for a top end sanitary engineer. Like, all right, we need a janitor.
Yeah,
I can do that. I can push a broom. Cool. You paying this much? Yeah, I push a broom for that much. All right, cool. But we don't know because we don't understand the lingo. So
Google them words.
Yeah. That's another place where networking and building a good circle can come into play, because people can help you with that stuff.
Right. Yep. And with those big old fancy words, it really ain't scary like you think it is once you start connecting the dots, like you said, B-Dub. When you use a fancy word for janitor, it's a freaking janitor, man. All right, it's a janitor, dude. So all those fancy words ain't doing nothing but deterring you, trying to scare you, from that, from applying for that position, whatever, man. So,
and that is very much intentional too, but that's another discussion for another day.
Most definitely. All right, anybody got any closing remarks before we can close this one out tonight, man? We had a great conversation, and we hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Closing remarks.
Just for anybody that's listening, if you have an opportunity to correct someone, like Deidre, you might that's kind of iffy and scary, and check with the missus on this. But if I were you, I would take that opportunity, because I know the girl didn't get hired, but I would use that opportunity to help her and tell her your body language is everything. When you go to the interview, sit up, look like you're ready, look interested, have 2 or 3 questions ready for the interviewer at the end. Like, just give her tips so that she can grow, because at the end of the day, that is our future.
Right.
Regardless of how handsome she thought you was, hell, she might have to wipe your ass in the nursing home because she didn't get the job that we thought she. So I mean, it's all about helping people and growth within ourselves, because you're never too old to learn something. And then another thing, I would suggest that everybody I don't care who you are, young, old, black, white, purple, pink. Get your get a business for yourself. And even if it's just to see that you can't afford to give anybody a hookup all the time. Because that's another reason why we can't grow, because we feel like we're so obligated to give to family and friends and close people, and people, some people truly don't understand that I can't afford to give you my product at a lower price, because this is my business, this is my money, and this is how much I sell it for, and this is how I feed my family. So I feel I could just go on and on and on um, about networking, but just keep in mind, if you can help anybody, please don't hold on to your secrets and your knowledge. Help, because it's needed.
Right. B Dub, G Man, EQ. Y'all got anything else?
Uh, G-Man, I done seen them sheets on that bed at a motel before, but never mind, I'ma mind my business. Y'all have a good night. This been a great show. That's been a great show. Very informative.
I can't stand it.
I love conversations like this, and it's always good to learn, from people, who may know something that you need to know or whatever. But it's always good to be on this panel anyway. And y'all know me and G-Man give each other a hard time, but it's all in love. But I have seen those sheets before. I ain't gonna say where at, but
First Arrow took you to one look just like. That's how you know what the look
I
like.
don't know who Percy Earl is. I am.
Took you to the 2 for 20.
You a lie.
Hey, we gotta give it up for our girl B Love, man. B Love be bringing that energy, man.
Yes,
So we have to
yes,
give it up to B Love, man.
Round of
B
applause
Love has been
indeed. Yes.
absolutely noble. She's been
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful, with bringing in to the show. So definitely bringing some knowledge and some wisdom and understanding and the energy. So man, we definitely love it, man. And B Love, we definitely
If
want to bring you back.
if y'all notice, I talk after beat up because I listen to his ideas and I steal from you, my brother.
Sharing is
Hey, it's
caring.
all good. It's all good.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, but giving you the burning codes, giving you the bag moment. We're gonna definitely say knowledge is power, and also you are definitely valuable. Don't think that because you are working a job that you might not be making a whole lot of money yet, you can still learn something from it. You can learn something from it to make sure that you can put that into your palette or your resume. You can get something from it, man, and definitely benefit from it, whatever. So just be patient, and I promise you, you'll definitely get to where you want to be. All right. So now that you got the bag, what you gonna do with it? Now we are the Brandon Coles podcast, and we say thank you guys for joining the show. We will definitely be back for another episode of Brandon Coles podcast. We are live every Tuesday, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, and you don't want to miss episode number 44, where we're talking about parenting, and it's gonna be a good conversation. You don't want to miss it. I am Mr. Know It All, Bougie Weirdo, G-Man, First Lady EQ, and our girl B Love. We say thank you guys. We see you guys next Tuesday. Peace.